using the hashtag AskNASA. All right, let's start here in the room. If you have a question, raise your hand, and then we'll start with Gina Sinceri.
Gina Sinceri, ABC News. I mean, you've done this so long. Did anything really surprise you about the year in space, or was it what you expected?
The flight itself, I think the only big surprise was how long a year is. It seemed like I'd lived there forever. It seemed longer than I thought it would be. But I did, having flown before, I did pace myself appropriately, so I felt pretty good about that. So as far as the flight is concerned, that was the only real surprise.
Your Earth as Art just went viral. What about that really struck you when you would look down at Earth every day?
Well, the Earth is a beautiful planet. It's everything, practically everything to us. It's very important to our survival, and the space station is a great vantage point to observe it and to share our planet in pictures. And you also notice how the atmosphere looks and how fragile it looks. Makes you more of a environmentalist after spending so much time looking down at our planet. Maybe occasionally you do go bananas. But no, I think NASA does a good job selecting people that are able to deal with those kind of environments, and just focusing, trying to stay like hyper focused on what you need to do, what you need to pay attention to, because in an environment like that, it's critical to your survival. The Navy had a term, compartmentalize. Try to just focus at the task at hand. Take it one day at a time. It's very important. Try not to. I tried to have milestones that were close, like when is the next crew arriving, when is the next visiting vehicle arriving, the next DVA, the next robotics, the next big science activity, and I think that made a difference to me, keeping my sanity. But coming back, I definitely feel like this is harder.
All right, how about right here?
Kevin Quinn from KTRK. Hi, Scott. Welcome back. Two questions. Number one, Mark said that you did notice physically some changes upon your return. Can you detail those? And number two, I remember before you left, you told me one thing you'd really like to see completed while you were gone was all the construction on I-45.
Yeah.
That's not done. What do you say now about that?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but I was hoping, and you just let me know that it wasn't done. That's something really unfortunate. So, as some of you might know, I flew 159 days last time, and when I got back, I felt like I was feeling pretty good. There's always like a certain amount of soreness and fatigue and that kind of stuff. Initially, this time coming out of the capsule, I felt better than I did last time, but at some point, those two lines have crossed, and my level of like muscle soreness and fatigue is a lot higher than it was last time. It almost makes me think of maybe there's a linear function to it. I also have an issue with my skin, that because it hadn't touched anything for so long, like any significant contact, it's very, very sensitive.
The cold air was amazing, fresh air.
It's almost like a burning feeling on wherever I like sit or lie or walk.
It's kind of an odd smell.
I actually have I'm not wearing these shoes all the time. I just wore these for you guys. I got some Hoka 1-1, those thick running shoes out there that are making my feet feel a little bit better.
Okay.
Hi, Scott. Welcome back. Tom Costello with NBC. To follow up on that, so you seem to have no problem when you got out of the Soyuz. You looked like you could have walked on your own if you had to.
I think it helps having flown a long duration flight before, because I anticipated being kind of shocked by all the people there when you've seen so few people for so long, and then you get out of the capsule and there are all these people. But I think just having had the experience previously, I was ready for that. I've been very busy since I got back, so I don't think it's really hit me yet. And I think there'll be a point here pretty soon where I'll, you know, start maybe feeling that kind of.
Not quite.
You know, culture shock, or you know, whatever else you would want to call that, from you know, having so little on the space station, and you know, so few like choices about what you're going to do every day, what's available to you, to basically having just about anything, if, you know, depending on your situation, obviously. I would say that as a government employee, I'm subject to the Hatch Act, so I can't say what I think. But I will say that of all the news stories throughout the year,
Okay,
we're the same height, by the way.
Did you in fact gain the 2 inches, or?
I don't know where that came from. I did measure myself, and it was 1.5 inches, so maybe somebody just decided to round up and write it as a fact. So,
Okay.
but gravity pushes you back down to size. Adjusting to space is easier than adjusting to Earth for me. You know, you do feel a little, you don't feel, I don't think I ever felt completely normal up there. There's always some little subtlety of how you're feeling, even after you've been up there for 340 days. But yeah, I think coming back to gravity is harder than leaving gravity. So I don't know, maybe the aliens got it a lot easier than we do.
Another interesting one coming to us from Lucas Ree on Twitter is, what did you do in your spare time when you were in space for the year?
Neat stuff. Talk on the phone, do email, take pictures, read. Watch TV shows and movies. My favorite. That's most of it.
Awesome, and this is more concerning the work you did, but Liz Collins is asking on behalf of her 5th grade class, what was your favorite year in space experiment?
My favorite. I really liked the rodent research we did because it was so challenging. And it was such a large operation. There's some things we do that are, you know, you could do an experiment that you just get the procedure and you start doing the experiment, and then there's things like the spacewalk.
The faking of spacewalks in a swimming pool. In this vid, you catch a glimpse of someone wearing a scuba tank. Scuba tanks in space? Snorkels and scuba tanks in space?
Which takes you sometimes, you know, a couple of months to prepare for, or in one time in our case, just 5 days. But then the rodents were kind of in that kind of realm of things that, you know, take a lot of preparation, a lot of setup, very meticulous. And, you know, because it does involve animals, it's got to be done a certain way, in a very humane way. And then the science we were doing was very interesting as well, and associated with them. So I think if I had to say one experiment, it would be that.
All right, just a reminder for the people on the phone bridge to press *1 if you have a question. We'll go over there in just a minute, but I think we've got another one in here in the room. Go ahead.
Yes, Jake Reiner with KPRC Channel 2. Can you explain why it's more difficult to come back to gravity than it is going the other way?
Yeah, I don't know why that feels that way for me. I don't know if Steve has you got any ideas, Steve?
Okay. All right. Listen, I got a thing.
You've had a lot of experience of going into
Yeah.
space and not quite so much returning after a year, so your body just gets very used to gravity, and when you haven't had it, it takes a little bit to get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, some people have a big issue going to space. I mean, maybe it's just person dependent. I don't know. But some people get really sick.
Okay, you all right? You feeling nauseated?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna vomit.
Okay, get the bag. Get the bag.
It was a big jerky.
I'm just not one of those. And but coming back, I definitely feel like this is harder than doing that. So we landed at I don't know, what was that, 1 in the morning, I think. Yeah, my two flight surgeons, Jen and Steve. Yeah, my two flight surgeons, Jen and Steve. Yeah, my two flight surgeons, Jen and Steve. We landed in Kazakhstan, flew to Norway. I did some medical tests there. From Norway, we were going to fly to Goose Bay, Canada, but the weather was bad, and we landed in Gander, right? Gander. A lot of the time on the plane, I was trying to sleep, which was kind of hard because I was uncomfortable. I was so sore, and but I did sleep some. And then when we got back, I went back over to JSC here to some of the medical facilities and did some tests, had physical exam, blood drawn, did this functional fitness test, which is kind of a test of your physical ability to do things if you had to after coming back from space. And then the next day, so I got home at about 4 a.m., jumped in my pool, was up by about 9 in the morning, back at work at 10 for a bunch more medical tests, which was yesterday, actually. A bunch more medical tests, and did this functional fitness test again. Did some other tests of on my muscle strength. That took some time. Today I was at UTMB in Victory Lakes and had a bunch of MRIs, 2 hours of MRIs, did a Japanese experiment this afternoon, and now I'm here. So it's been pretty busy.